What do we think about technology? Welcome to the Tech Channel podcast. So, today the goal is to find out, what do you think technology is about and how does it shape our world? So, technology has been around for a very long time, going back to vehicles, going back to the steam engines. Technology has been with us for a long time. As it's developed, we've had cordless cell phones, we've had the iPad, and we have had multiple different other devices. But here's the key that you're always going to see. Technology is everywhere now, with smart speakers, and what does it mean to you? Does technology mean that a useful service? Or does technology help you in a certain way to function, to do different things? Does technology run your programs? And what do you find interesting about technology? Is it social media like Instagram? Or do you have an interest with YouTube? Or is it the Office apps with your work? But what really interests you about technology, and how does it make you function, and where? So we're trying to think about where we would do this. So we would bring all new tech services to our areas, and tech always is connected, right? It is. So how do we make technology a part of our lives everywhere? There's an easy way to do it. So, technology, you might have it in your school if you're a student, or you might have it even at your house, your work, or you have a gaming console, TV. Technology, have it, but where and when? So which programs do you use? Again, as I said before. And technology, I'm also going to discuss today's where the world with technology has grown. Let's start with that. So, over the years, technology has brought out different services. Like we've had let's go back to the iPad. So that's back to 2010. Apple isn't doing as well as it could have been, but it released the iPhone and the iPod 2 years before, and now we're on the newer iOS. So iOS at that time wasn't as big, but it was still beating Android at that point, and it was working. It was working very easily. But we found that within technology, there's sometimes were items that just were so interesting. So we got the iPad, you got touchscreen, you can draw, you can use your finger, you can type with an external keyboard, of course, or on your touchscreen keyboard. You have a microphone, you have a home button, you have a camera. Actually, at that time, you only had a selfie camera, but nowadays you have the dual camera setup. And the other item we have is you can even use an app called Files to manage your files. You can do multitasking. At that time, there was no such thing as multitasking. On an iPad, you would just use one app at a time. You'd have the little thing at the bottom of your screen, the control center, your notification center, and it was easy. It was good. And that's what led to iPads in education. And it's just interesting how it developed. So it's changed many ways. So we've also brought in new features like dark mode, which I've been beta testing for months, and it'll be coming out to you on September 19th of this year, 2019. And within dark mode, you'll see the iPad, it looks better for your eyes, the iPad, the iPhone, all your Apple devices will look better. And it'll be easier to use as well. You also have better multitasking, and so on and so on. Now let's see. So let's go to your microwave. So you might not think they're a computer, but what do they do? What does a microwave do for us? It does a programmed task every single time, and it's a computer because it has a programmable task and it continues doing it. So whenever you click that button and you click the start, that's just a programmed task, and then it just does it for you. Same as your oven has a computer in it. Nowadays, you might have a touch screen on your microwave, or your fridge might have the internet on it, like a built-in tablet. But sometimes too much tech is not a good thing. But at the same time, it actually benefits us. But where does that bring us to? So it just adds more and more things we could do. But technology connects us. So whenever you post something on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, I'm just going for a list. Weibo, a lot of different services that exist. And what's interesting is just how media works. So you got the news, it's always coming in, and the news, you're always seeing it. These days, it's everywhere, and it catches us, it grabs us. And back in 2016, when President Trump came into the election, I was reading an article from CBC recently, with technology, schools in the States actually had to up their media literacy teachings. It was interesting, because technology is everywhere, but there's different things, different sides of it that are interesting. And I'll bring that up in another topic about fake news. But for now, let's get back to our main topic. And that was, how has technology changed us? Okay. So technology, it changes everything in our world. So before technology, everything would be handwritten, everything would be done, and you'd do everything manually. Yes, you'd have the factories, but the factories are a computer too. But, okay, back to what we're talking about. So, we're talking about the computers now and how they changed us, but how much do you think a computer has taken into our lives? What do you think? How many hours a day do you spend on your cell phone? How many minutes a day do you spend on your computer doing? It doesn't matter if it's work, doesn't matter if it's for interests, doesn't really matter. As I'm speaking now, I'm on it. Yes, it's off, like it's just in a turned off mode and it's just recording, but the interesting part is it's always doing this for us. And it never stops, and you're always attached to it. And even your watch, your smartwatch. But technology, I found, is always changing, and it's always changing us. It brings new things to our lives. It makes things we already have easier, better, more efficient. And as I'm saying this, Google's probably listening in, and it's interesting. Google can always tune in whenever it needs to, and all these services, they're always working. Everything's live. We're looking at it right now, the iPad, the Windows computers. As I'm a beta tester, I've done different beta tests. It's just interesting to see how to do things before it even comes out. But technology is for everyone, and it's meant for accessibility at the same time. But finally, what do you think is technology? So now you can put into comments. Since this is the first video, it might not have as many comments, but just saying that, you can look at it and say, this is an interesting new podcast. And does tech always change us? What do you think? Reply in the comments, and thanks for listening to the Tech Channel podcast. The podcast is now finished. Thank you, and have a good evening. Or night, or day. Who knows what day it is? Goodbye.